5 suspects in the Thabo Bester case will today continue with their bail application in the Bloemfontein Magistrate's Court. The group includes 2 former G4S control room operators, Tieho, Makhotsa and Nastassja, Jansen. Dr. Nandipha Makudumana will resume her application on Tuesday. This follows new evidence which prompted a postponement of her proceedings due to the need for further investigations. The accused are facing charges including corruption, fraud, defeating the ends of justice, among other charges. They are in the spotlight for allegedly assisting Bester, a convicted rapist and murderer, to fake his death and escape prison. Let's get the latest now, and our reporter Linda Mnisi is live for us at court. Linda, good morning to you. Take us through perhaps the highlights from yesterday and today. I suppose it is easy for us to assume that Dr. Nandipha Makudumana will not be in court.
Well, before we get to the bail hearings, Newzroom Afrika has seen a letter that reportedly was sent to the Home Affairs Department from Dr. Chan. You'll remember she's also known as Dr. Pashi, basically issuing the letter to the Minister of Home Affairs about the statements that were made in the media briefing that was held around April, wherein he was revealing details about certain passport documents that may have been involved in the Thabo Bester escape saga. So the lawyers then in that letter, telling the minister to retract and withdraw some of the statements that he made in that particular media briefing, saying some of them, cause harm to their client's integrity as well as harm to her reputation and business relationships. You'll remember that she is a medical doctor and has numerous relationships with other, practitioners in the industry. So they've issued a letter of demand in saying also that the minister needs to retract, withdraw and desist really from making any further statements that may cause harm to the client. We managed also to reach out to the Department of Home Affairs, who at this point say they cannot comment on things that they are really not aware of at this point. So this is one of the developing stories around what is happening around Thabo Bester, as well as all the other moving parts around it. But you also speak about the bail applications that are currently taking place in courts this morning. It will continue, of course. After yesterday we heard that Dr. Nandipha Makudumana's bail application would be rolled over to the 16th of May. She hasn't made an application as yet, so it's on record. What was placed there was the fact that she wishes to reserve her right to apply for bail, which will then be able to give her the time to deal with new critical evidence that they say is very important and is in the interest of justice for them to deal with it. This will, of course, give them time to, deal with this piece of evidence and take instructions, particularly from Dr. Nandipha herself. So that matter parked on the side, she will be appearing on the 16th of May, this time alongside Thabo Bester as well as her father, Zolile Sekeleni. So that's going to be an interesting one, and we'll hear on the 16th whether or not she will be applying for that bail on that day, and depending on what they make really of this piece of evidence. We don't know what it is at this point. Her defense team remaining tight-lipped on what could be contained in that piece of evidence. But yesterday we also heard the bail application for the 5 others, or the 6 others that are involved in this matter. I'm talking here about Sinuhe Matwara as well as others. But it was quite interesting, hearing in court yesterday around Tebo. You'll remember he is the camera installer that worked at G4S and was recently dismissed by the company in April. So what he basically told the court yesterday was the fact that he had in fact, called the police to meet up with an investigator. He told that investigator that he wanted to speak to a police officer he could trust, and that's when he was arrested. In fact, he was arrested at a mall that is basically not far from where we are at the Bloemfontein Magistrate's Court. But in fact, when the state called its witness, one of the investigators in this matter, it was in fact revealed that he basically had said, that he was called by police, but when the investigator took to the stand, he revealed that it was in fact him who called the investigator wanting to speak to a police officer he could trust. He said he feared for his life, and that's where, at that very same mall, detailed what had happened and his alleged involvement. He says he was scared that he would be killed either by his colleagues or even the community. He spoke of issues around being tortured as well. So, that kind of evidence currently, being contradicted by his statement that he deposed in that affidavit earlier in the day yesterday. So we're expecting those bail applications to continue this morning, hearing, of course, from the state in their bid to oppose bail.
Mnisi, thank you very much for that update live for us outside the Bloemfontein Magistrates Court. Still to come, the presidency responding to claims of weapons being allegedly supplied to Russia. These claims have been made by the U.S. ambassador to South Africa, Ruben Brigiti. What does this mean for relations between the two countries? A discussion in a minute about whether or not this actually did happen. We expect to talk to a journalist whose sole duty is to watch what our military does. That conversation in a moment.